I assume you figured out by now that the band I'm about to talk about has had 3 different names throughout its life. In case you can't read, or haven't been bothered to read the title of this video, those names are Scent of Paradise, Pathetic, and Collapse 7. But before I start, I need to clarify something. I won't be talking too much about the Collapse 7 era of the band because I'm not too familiar with it, so this video won't be a comprehensive dive into the band's entire history. I'll primarily be talking about the time when the band went under the names Scent of Paradise and Pathetic. I find this era to be more interesting anyway, and I figured there's a good chance that you might too, once we get further into this. So, let's begin. It all started back in 1992 when Columbus sailed the ocean blue, 500 years prior. A melodic death metal band called Scent of Paradise formed in Vienna. It was a 3-piece that consisted of Mario Klausner on bass and vocals, Werner Freinbichler on guitars, and Manfred Schneider on drums. And it wasn't long before they began recording some songs for their first release, which would come out the following year with the title Solitude. Yep, that's the cover. It kinda freaks me out. I know this came out sometime in 1993, but I'm not quite sure when. On the Metal Archives, it says it came out in December, but on Collapse 7's Bandcamp, it says it's from April, so there's a bit of uncertainty as to when exactly this came out. Speaking of uncertainty, I'm also not really sure what kind of release this is. I believe it's more along the lines of a demo since it was independently distributed and only on cassette, but looking back at Collapse 7's Bandcamp page, it's referred to as an EP. I'll still treat it as a demo for this video though, because that's what it sounds like. The production isn't all that great if I'm being honest, but I guess it does have its moments. Have a listen. Again, it doesn't sound the best, but this was pretty much the first time the members of Scent of Paradise had ever recorded in a studio, so I understand why things are the way they are with Solitude. It also makes what's to come a bit more impressive, but before I get to that, something brief yet still pretty significant happens in 1994, and it manifested in the form of a name change. Reasons for this are not very apparent, at least online it isn't, but I have a theory. Hear me out. I'm not really sure what actually caused Scent of Paradise to ditch their name, but they did change it to Pathetic in 1994. And yes, that's their logo. It's actually part of what got me interested in this band in the first place, because I don't associate this sort of look with melodic death metal. At all. So you can probably imagine my surprise when I found out what Pathetic really was when I listened to their EP, As We Fade. It was recorded and released on CD sometime in late 1995, and it was created in a similar fashion to that of Solitude. The band's lineup, producer, and recording studio are all the same from last time. Yet with what few changes have been made, I think that As We Fade is still a huge step up from Solitude. It sports a slightly more polished production and, in my opinion, improved musicianship. Solitude felt a bit sluggish to me, whereas this EP is a bit tighter, if that makes any sense. I'll play a few parts from it so you can hopefully hear what I'm trying to say.
I've never felt the record inside of me. Members of eternity, dark and fuzzy. Something to breath me, corrodes the flesh. Like a demon for
Something else I think is kinda cool about this EP is the insert. When it's in its jewel case, only the top right portion of the album cover is visible, but when you take it out and unfold it, you can see the whole thing. Flipping it over reveals the lyrics to all the songs, as well as some ominous pictures of the band members. Also, very much like Solitude, As We Fade has its fair share of uncertainty. I mentioned earlier that it was only released on CD, but there is also a promo tape made for it that has the songs Vacant Soul and Darkening Horizons on it. This tape, as well as its CD counterpart, are considered independent releases, though Pathetic were supposedly signed to an Austrian label called Dream Machine Productions, according to the back cover of the EP. I know pretty much next to nothing about this record label, not even when it was created or dissolved. All I know about it are these bits of information. There were only 2 bands that were ever signed to Dream Machine, with Pathetic being one of them. The other band was Soul Search, in case you were wondering, and Mario was actually briefly involved with this band as well. He provided additional vocals for their first album. Anyway, both Pathetic and Soul Search each had one EP released through this label before going elsewhere. And other than these 2 EPs, the only other release that I could find that's associated with Dream Machine is a compilation titled Winterpoem. It looks like a promotional tape based on the underground music support statement on the cassette shell, and its track listing reflects this. It has songs from both bands that were signed to Dream Machine, including those originally found on the As We Fade promo tape mentioned earlier. But something else I found interesting about Winterpoem was that there's also stuff from other Austrian bands that were never associated with Dream Machine as far as I know. Sure, it's just a promo tape, so I might be making it sound more unusual than it actually is, but I mean, just look at it. What do you think about it? Doesn't this tape seem kind of arbitrary or unusual to you, or is it just me? And what about Dream Machine? Don't you find Dream Machine kind of strange too? I'm sure there's other things out there that are like this, but I don't know. I honestly want to know more about this label, and Winterpoem too, so if you happen to know something about either of these things, please put it in the comments. Anyway, after As We Fade came out in 1995, Pathetic didn't seem to be very active, but there were a couple of changes in the lineup. Gerald, or Jerry Huber, was taken in as a second guitarist in 1996, and Manfred left in 1998, leaving the band without a drummer until 2003 when they changed their name again, this time to Collapse 7. Prior to their reunion though, Pathetic, or Collapse 7's members went on to do other things. And when I say members, I actually just mean Mario, because the rest of the band didn't seem to actually do that much during this time. But not Mario. It seems as though things were going well for him because he ended up joining a couple bands that you might have heard of before. Do the names Belphegor or Pungent Stench sound familiar to you? If they do, and you happen to be an avid fan of either of these bands, then you might already know that Mario was a member at one point. But I didn't, because I don't pay attention to either of these bands, so it came as a surprise to me. Mario joined Belphegor first in 1996 as their new bass player, and he took on the name Marius while he was in the band. Hopefully I pronounced that right. He ended up performing on 2 albums, Blood Sabbath from 1997 and from 2000. He was also on the 2002 live album, Infernal Live Orgasm. Great name. Sometime in 2001, Mario left Belphegor and joined Pungent Stench, which just reformed not long before his arrival. This time, he took on the name Reverend and once again played bass, because that's what he does. He ended up on the album Masters of Moral, Servants of Sin, as well as on a split with Benediction. In 2004, he left Pungent Stench and went back to Collapse 7, which would be his sole focus for about a decade. As I said earlier, I'm not really familiar with what the band has done under this name, but it appears they've released 3 albums after Mario returned. After their third release in 2011, the band seemed to have once again gone dormant in terms of new releases. However, they did post every now and then on their Facebook page, and I remember seeing something about another project that some of Collapse 7's members were involved in, but I don't know the specifics of it. I'll probably look into it a bit more at another time. I also saw a post from February of 2022 announcing that Collapse 7 were working on a new album. Around the same time, Solitude and As We Fade were added to their Bandcamp page. But ever since that last announcement, no new posts have been made on Collapse 7's Facebook page, and their 4th album has yet to be released. If you happen to be interested in Collapse 7 or any of their past material, be sure to check them out. I'll include some links in the description so you can read more about them or listen to the stuff I didn't talk about in this video. If I'm missing any other important information or I got something wrong, or you happen to know anything about Dream Machine Productions or the Winterpoem tape, go ahead and put it in the comments. I'm still interested. And that's about it for now, and I hope to see you around sometime again. Take care. Surprise! The video's not actually over. I just found something on Collapse 7's Facebook page that I just had to share, and it's this picture that was posted on April 1st. I don't know German. I can't speak German. I can't read German, but I do understand, a couple of these words. So, do I want to know the context for this? Probably not, but yeah, I just wanted to let you know that this was a thing. That's about it. Take care.